Hello and welcome everyone to another video. Today I thought I will talk about all the books that I recommend reading during the fall season to get you in the mood for autumn, to get you in the mood for Halloween, which is just around the corner. This is going to be quite a long list of books that I recommend. So let's start off with The Saturday Night Ghost Club by Craig Davidson. Now this is a really fun book. You follow a bunch of kids that are friends and they go on like adventures looking through local ghost stories and investigating. It's quite a light read and it's just really enjoyable. Also the cover is really beautiful. I definitely recommend this book to anyone. Especially if you grew up during the 80s maybe, or you like that time, as it's basically based during the 80s. I mean, some people might find it quite nostalgic. Even if I didn't grow up during that time, I definitely did have a sense of nostalgia. It's a beautifully written book. Definitely worth a read. Right, next book we have Trick or Treat, A History of Halloween by Lisa Morton. Now this is a factual book and you look into the origins of Halloween, how Halloween was celebrated beforehand, like modern celebrations, how people used to dress up or decorate. You have also lots of vintage lovely looking pictures and postcards. It's an absolutely immersive read, and I really recommend for those of you who are more into factual books rather than literature. So let's move on to the third book. This is quite a wild card. It is The Vampire Knitting Club. Now The Vampire Knitting Club by Nancy Warren. I picked it up randomly. I was looking actually for knitting books and this appeared, even though it's not very Halloweeny. It has that cozy, warm, autumnal feeling as you basically explore Oxford, which is where it's based. It's an absolutely wonderful book and it's such a quick read, especially for those of you who knit or are into crochet, or it's just cozy. It's such a lovely cozy book. It follows witches and vampires, and it's really, how do you put it? It's a mystery. It's quite light-hearted, I'd say. So definitely worth a read. Right, next on my list is one of my favourite books of all time, The Daughter of Sherlock Holmes by Leonard Goldberg. Now this follows the daughter, as the title suggests, of Sherlock Holmes, and you also have different characters that reappear. It's based in the early 1914, I think it's 1914. Hold on. Yes, it is 1914, and you follow Joanna, and she's trying to solve a mystery. Now this is a good read. It's so quick. I finished it in one sitting. It's quite addicting, and it's just amazing. You also basically meet other characters that are featured in the original Sherlock Holmes series. And if you like the sort of Edwardian vibe, if you like kind of historic novel or a historic mystery, just to kind of get you relaxed or even cozy up to, because it's not very how would you put it? Not suspenseful, but it's just lovely to have a read and look into. Now I'm someone who's not a fan of historic novels, but this book turned me into one, really. I'm a huge fan of the series. Right, let's have quickly another look at another book. Right, The Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires. Now this is quite a dark novel by Grady Hendrix. I know that he wrote quite a few horror books. It is amazing. this whole vampire thing going on in like a little quiet suburb. It's so suspenseful. It had me on edge all the time. It is creepy. It is the way that they describe the vampires. It's just really, really disturbing. I've had imagery, I've even had nightmares, if I'm honest. It is quite a scary book to get into. The writing's quite small. It did take me it's a very descriptive book. It did take me quite some time to finish it, as I'm not really that much of a quick reader, but the story I just absorbed it. I still think about it till this day. I'm like, oh my god, what if in my suburb something like this happened? So it's a brilliant book to snuggle up to as October approaches. Definitely recommend checking out. Grady Hendrix has also written a few more books that I'm aware of. I think one of them is Horror Store, which is like IKEA. It's like a horror story, like IKEA's Haunted. It's quite a funny book. The concept's quite funny, but the book itself is a bit creepy. And I think it was My Best Friend's Exorcism. I'm not sure if that was by Grady Hendrix or not, but it's also a really good read. But otherwise, if you are an adult and you fancy reading a creepy vampire book based in the suburbs, you have quiet mums and families and that sort of thing, definitely worth a read, definitely. Right, next one is a bit more light-hearted. It's actually my favourite Halloween book, and it's called Pumpkinheads by Rainbow Rowell. My god. Oh my god. Faith Erin Hicks and Rainbow Rowell, sorry. I'm mesmerised. The style is beautiful. It's a graphics novel. It's my favourite one by far. It's beautiful. It's cozy. It's based in like pumpkin field, but definitely worth reading. It's like what's the word in English called? Pumpkin patch. It's basically based on like a pumpkin patch where two best friends work at. It's just a beautiful story. I recommend it even for kids, for adults, if it's something you enjoy. It's just funny and sweet and adorable. The art style is very lovely, and you get all these cozy and beautiful images. I absolutely love this book. And yeah, this is basically following the two characters during their last kind of year at working at a pumpkin patch. So yeah, definitely have a look at Pumpkinheads by Faith Erin Hicks, and you got the Rainbow Rowell. I can't remember which one. I basically searched both of the names up when I was looking forward this book. But yeah, this is by far one of my favorites. I remember pre-ordering this book because I just loved the way it sounded, and it's definitely a book that I will be rereading this year. Right, let's swiftly move on to something a bit darker. Clown in a Cornfield. Boy, this is creepy slasher kind of horror. It's scary. It's fast-paced. It's a quick read. It's just I don't know. I find clowns really creepy. But yeah, this is Clown in the Cornfield by Adam Cesare. Sorry if I butchered the surname. Absolutely lovely read. You have the cornfields, as the title suggests. You have these multiple killer kind of clowns coming after you. It's just a whole vibe. I never was a fan of anything to do sort of like, you know, murder or anything else like that. I know that there is a second book on this, which I haven't read, but I definitely recommend if you don't like clowns, if you want to get in the mood for autumn, for maybe a thriller, a bit of a scare here and there, it's a really good book to get your claws into. Right, let's move on to the next one. Ring Shout. Now, I haven't heard that much about this book. I picked it up before at a bookshop and it stunned me. I absolutely love it. It's by P.J. Lee Clark, if I'm correct. I'm sorry if I'm butchering your name. I really am. But Ring Shout, if this is like an adult horror, you follow the KKK basically, and they're like these creatures, they're horrible kind of beings, and you know what, they're not even human, they're just, you know what, in terms of the way historically, I just love the way they were depicted in this book as utter monsters, not even human anymore, absolute monsters. The descriptions are so rich. You follow basically these characters go like trying to kill them, trying to go basically against them and fight even though their chances might be slim. There's lots of bravery in this book, but also the depictions, the horrors. It's an awesome read. I definitely recommend for anybody who might be basically into sort of, well, it's typically, I would say it's basically like fantasy when it comes down to monsters, but it has some historic significance. So I definitely recommend this as a good autumn read for anybody who's interested in that time period, who's interested basically in the whole movement, basically. Oh my god, this book is great. Right, next book. In My Dreams, I Hold a Knife by Ashley Winstead. Now, this book caught me off guard. It's dark academia kind of. You have this sort of college setting, but you're looking from like what happened before. Oh god, there's a murder mystery. It's an absolute dream to read during this sort of weather once everything gets a bit colder, a bit chillier, a bit darker. It's an interesting thriller, let me tell you. I did not expect it to end the way that it did. It's very kind of, how would you put it, it's creepy. It really is. The whole concept basically. But yeah, you have these, I think it was 6 friends, you have a reunion after college, you have all these flashbacks and self-reflections throughout, lots of kind of college imagery, lots of sort of gothic imagery. It's a great book to read, especially if you're into dark academia or anything else that's quite similar. So yeah. Oh yeah, sorry, I forgot to say, In My Dreams I Hold a Knife is by Ashley Winstead. But yeah, it's a great book to read. So yeah, these were all of my autumn reads that I recommend for you. And I hope that you do pick up one of the books and that you really, really enjoy them. And I look forward to your comments, and please subscribe and click the like button if you do like my content. Right, I'm rambling now. I hope you're having a lovely day, and thank you for watching.